The Draconian warships entered Earth's orbit with the silence of death itself. Massive vessels, their surfaces gleaming like polished obsidian, blocked out the stars as they positioned themselves above Earth's major cities. Humanity's first contact with alien life came not with a message of peace, but with the burning of soul. Commander Jackson Reed watched from the International Defense Station as the South Korean capital erupted in flames. His fists clenched so tight that blood dripped from his palms. 20 years of military service hadn't prepared him for this moment, watching helplessly as millions died in the first strike. "Commander!" Dr. Olivia Chen's voice cut through his rage. "The readings, something's happening to our defense systems." The quantum physicist's hands flew across her holographic displays, her eyes wide with disbelief. "The energy signatures, they are responding to our emotional states." The station's warning systems blared as a Draconian battlecruiser turned its attention to their position. Its weapon ports glowed with sickly green energy, promising the same fate as Seoul. "All personnel, brace for impact." Jackson shouted, but his voice was drowned by something else, a roar of pure fury that seemed to emanate from Earth itself. As the Draconian weapon fired, something extraordinary happened. The beam struck not the station, but a barrier of rippling red energy that had materialized between them and the attack. Dr. Chen's instruments went wild. "Commander, these readings, it's impossible. The barrier, it's being generated by human brain waves. Specifically, our rage." Below them, strange phenomena began occurring worldwide. As news of Seoul's destruction spread, the collective anger of humanity manifested in unexpected ways. Military bases reported weapons responding to emotional states. Soldiers found their strength and reflexes enhanced by their fury. And in orbit, the International Defense Station systems surged with power they never knew existed. "This is why they attacked without warning," Dr. Chen realized, her own anger adding to the station's growing energy field. "They knew what we could become. They tried to destroy us before we discovered our potential." The Draconian ships launched a second wave of attacks, targeting more cities. But this time, humanity wasn't caught off guard. The rage of 7 billion humans began to manifest in ways that defied physics itself. In New York, soldiers found they could deflect energy weapons with bare hands enveloped in red auras. In Moscow, tank battalions discovered their vehicles responding to their crew's fury, moving with impossible speed and precision. Commander Reed felt it too, a burning power flowing through his veins as humanity's collective wrath empowered him. "Dr. Chen, can we weaponize this?" "Already working on it," she replied, her laboratory equipment humming with angry red energy. The Draconians didn't just wake a sleeping giant, they woke something that's been dormant in our species since the beginning of time. The station's AI flashed a priority alert: more Draconian ships were arriving through hyperspace. But instead of fear, Jackson felt only a cold, focused rage. "Send word to every military installation on Earth. Tell them to embrace their anger, channel it. Dr. Chen, you have 1 hour to give me a weapon that runs on human fury." As the Draconian fleet grew to hundreds of ships, they witnessed something they had feared for millennia: the awakening of humanity's true nature. Earth itself seemed to pulse with red energy, visible even from space, as billions of humans united in their desire for vengeance. A transmission from the Draconian flagship reached the station: "You do not understand what you are becoming. The power you are awakening was sealed away for the good of the galaxy." Commander Reed's response was simple: "You should have thought of that before you burned Seoul." He turned to Dr. Chen, whose laboratory now pulsed with barely contained energy. "How close are we?" She looked up from her work, her eyes glowing with the same red energy that now enveloped the station. "The principles are simple once you accept the impossible. Human rage doesn't just enhance our strength, it literally warps reality. The Draconians didn't come here to conquer us. They came to contain us." As if to prove her point, the station's hull began to transform, organic-looking patterns spreading across its surface as it responded to the crew's collective anger. Similar transformations were being reported from military installations worldwide. Humanity's weapons, vehicles, and even their own bodies were evolving, driven by an emotion older than civilization itself. The Draconians had made a fatal mistake. They had attacked humanity believing they could destroy Earth before its inhabitants discovered their true nature. Instead, they had provided the very catalyst needed to awaken humanity's dormant potential. As Earth's nations united in their thirst for vengeance, one thing became clear: the galaxy was about to learn why you should never enrage an entire species. The real war was about to begin, and humanity's wrath would reshape the stars themselves. 2 weeks after Sol's destruction, the underground facility beneath Mount Cheyenne hummed with barely contained energy. The concrete walls had begun to transform, taking on an organic appearance with pulsing red veins running through them, a physical manifestation of humanity's collective rage. Dr. Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her presentation showing footage from around the world. The transformation is happening everywhere, she explained, gesturing to images of soldiers surrounded by crimson auras. What we're calling rage enhancement isn't just affecting our military forces. It's changing our weapons, our vehicles, even our infrastructure. The council chamber fell silent as she played footage from the Battle of Mumbai. Indian tanks, their metal now twisted into organic shapes, moving with impossible speed and agility. Soldiers leaping 20 feet into the air, their bodies wrapped in protective fields of pure fury. And most incredibly, a squadron of fighter jets that seemed to respond to their pilots' emotions, transforming mid-flight to dodge draconian energy weapons. The Draconians have gone quiet since their initial attack, Commander Reed reported from his position beside Dr. Chen. They've pulled back to high orbit, but our new sensors indicate they are massing an even larger fleet. We estimate we have less than 3 days before their main assault begins. General Maria Torres, her right arm still bandaged from the Mexico City defense, leaned forward. What about civilian casualties? The rage enhancement is spreading faster than we can control it. Dr. Chen's expression darkened. That's both our greatest challenge and our greatest opportunity. The power doesn't just enhance individuals, it grows stronger when we unite our anger. But untrained civilians are causing incidents. Yesterday in Berlin, a crowd's collective rage accidentally melted a city block. Then we trained them, Commander Reed interjected. All of them. The Draconians wanted to contain us? Fine. Let's show them exactly what they've unleashed. The next 48 hours saw the largest military mobilization in human history. Every major city became a training ground as soldiers with newly mastered rage enhancement taught civilians to control their fury. The transformation of Earth's military continued at an exponential rate. In orbit, the International Defense Station had become unrecognizable. Its once rigid structure now resembled a living organism, with Commander Reed's command center housed within what looked like a giant beating heart. Dr. Chen's laboratories spread throughout the station like a nervous system, monitoring the global awakening. The Draconians are moving. Lieutenant Wei's voice cut through the station's alert system. The young officer's eyes glowed red as he channeled his anger into the station's enhanced sensors. Multiple fleets emerging from hyperspace. They've brought planet killers. Commander Reed watched as massive ships, each the size of a small moon, emerged from hyperspace. The Draconian fleet now numbered in the thousands, their ships arranged in attack formations that spoke of millennia of military evolution. But Earth was ready. The rage-enhanced defense platforms, constructed in the past 2 weeks using technology that merged human fury with advanced engineering, moved into position. On the surface, millions of transformed soldiers prepared for battle, their weapons and vehicles now extensions of their controlled anger. They still don't understand, Dr. Chen said softly, watching the Draconian fleets approach. They think this is about weapons and numbers. They don't realize that every person they killed, every city they burned, only makes us stronger. The Draconian transmission came exactly as their tacticians had predicted: your species' awakening ends today. The galaxy will not survive your evolution. Commander Reed's response was broadcast globally, his voice carrying the controlled fury of billions. You're right about one thing. After today, the galaxy will never be the same. But not because you stopped us. Because you showed us who we really are. As if in response to his words, the transformed International Defense Station pulsed with crimson energy. Similar manifestations appeared around the globe, humanity's united rage made visible from space. Military bases became living fortresses. Weapons merged with their wielders. Vehicles evolved beyond their original designs. The Draconian fleet launched their first wave, tens of thousands of fighters accompanied by energy beams that could crack continents. They struck a wall of pure human fury, their weapons absorbed and reflected by defenses powered by the very emotion their attack had awakened. Earth's counterattack began with a roar that seemed to shake space itself. Rage-enhanced fighters launched from organic hangars, their pilots mentally linked to machines that had evolved beyond physical limitations. Ground-based weapons, now resembling ancient dragons more than traditional artillery, spat beams of concentrated human anger into orbit. The battle for Earth's survival had begun. But this time, humanity wasn't fighting with just technology and tactics. They were fighting with the unleashed power of their own wrath, and the Draconians were about to learn why their ancestors had feared humanity's awakening. As the two forces clashed in orbit, Dr. Chen's instruments detected something even more extraordinary: the rage enhancement was still evolving. Humanity's fury wasn't just changing their weapons and defenses. It was changing the very nature of what humans could become. The battle raged across Earth's orbit, a spectacular display of crimson fury against the cold efficiency of draconian technology. But it was what happened next that would be remembered in galactic history for millennia to come. Deep within the transformed International Defense Station, Dr. Chen's instruments detected a new phenomenon. "Commander Reed. The Earth's core, it's responding to our collective rage." Her holographic displays showed impossible readings as the planet's molten heart pulsed in sync with humanity's fury. The Draconian planet killers had positioned themselves for their main assault, their weapons charging with enough power to shatter worlds. High Marshal Crixus, Supreme Commander of the Draconian fleet, watched with growing unease as his sensors reported anomalies throughout the human world. "Impossible," he hissed, his scaled face illuminated by emergency warnings. "The legend spoke of this, but we were assured they were just myths." Earth's oceans began to glow with the same crimson energy that powered humanity's defenses. Fault lines across the planet lit up like angry veins. The planet itself was awakening, responding to the collective rage of its inhabitants. Commander Reed felt it, a connection to something vast and ancient. Every human on Earth and in orbit experienced the same sensation. Their individual fury was being amplified by the planet itself, creating a feedback loop of unprecedented power. "All Earth forces," Reed broadcast, his voice steady despite the energy coursing through him. "Channel everything through the planetary network. The Earth itself fights with us now." The transformed International Defense Station became a conduit for this new power. Its organic structures extended, forming massive arrays that focused Earth's fury into weapons never before seen in the galaxy. Similar transformations occurred at every major military installation on the planet. Dr. Chen's voice shook with excitement and fear. "The ancient legends, the Draconians weren't trying to prevent our technological advancement. They were trying to prevent this, our connection to our world's core consciousness." The Draconian planet killers fired their main weapons, beams of energy that could crack a world in half. But they never reached their target. Earth's atmosphere itself had become a shield of crystallized rage, transforming the incoming energy into pure power that flowed back into humanity's defense network. High Marshal Crixus watched in horror as his most powerful weapons were not just stopped, but absorbed and redirected. "All ships, full retreat. We face not just the humans now, but their awakened world." But retreat was no longer an option. Earth's fury manifested in ways that defied physics and reason. Massive tentacles of crystallized energy erupted from the planet's surface, reaching into space to grab Draconian ships. The transformed oceans launched geysers of superheated plasma, guided by the collective will of humanity. Commander Reed, his eyes now glowing like twin suns, directed the counterattack. The International Defense Station had become a living weapon, its organic structure extending across hundreds of miles of space. Every human connected to the network felt the power of their world flowing through them. "You wanted to see humanity's true nature." Reed's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Watch closely. This is what happens when you threaten not just our people, but our very world." The Earth itself seemed to roar. Volcanic eruptions launched streams of rage-enhanced magma into orbit, forming new defensive barriers. The planet's magnetic field transformed into a weapon, turning the Draconian fleet's own energy against them. High Marshal Crixus frantically ordered his remaining planet killers to concentrate fire on a single point, hoping to break through their planetary defense. Instead, he witnessed something that would haunt Draconian nightmares for generations. The point of impact transformed into a massive face, a manifestation of Earth's awakened consciousness merged with human fury. It spoke not in words but in pure emotion, sending a wave of concentrated rage that shattered Draconian ships like glass. Dr. Chen's laboratories, now spread throughout the living station, recorded everything. The planet's core is generating more power than 1,000 suns, she reported. But it's not just energy, it's focused fury, guided by our collective will. The battle became a slaughter. Draconian ships, for all their advanced technology, stood no chance against a unified humanity fighting alongside their awakened world. Their weapons were absorbed, their shields shattered, their mighty fleet torn apart by forces they had sought to prevent humanity from discovering. High Marshal Crixus, watching his fleet being decimated, finally understood the true scope of his empire's mistake. "We didn't contain them," he whispered. "We showed them the path to their ascension." As the last Draconian ships attempted to flee, Earth displayed one final demonstration of its power. The planet's rage-enhanced magnetic field reached out across space, creating a net of pure energy that trapped the remaining vessels. Commander Reed, now standing in a command center that pulsed like a living heart, gave the final order: let them witness everything. Let them return to their empire and report what happens when you threaten not just humanity, but Earth itself. The battle ended not with the expected destruction of Earth, but with the near-total annihilation of the greatest fleet in Draconian history. As the few surviving ships fled through hyperspace, they carried with them a message that would reshape galactic politics forever: Earth was no longer just a planet of primitives. It had become something unprecedented, a world where billions of sentient beings had formed a conscious bond with their planet's core, transforming both themselves and their home into a force that defied comprehension. The age of human submission to galactic powers was over. The age of Earth's fury had begun. 1 month after Earth's devastating victory over the Draconian fleet, humanity had changed beyond recognition. The International Defense Station, now a sprawling organic megastructure, served as the headquarters for Earth's first unified military command. Commander Reed stood in its central chamber, watching holographic displays of Earth's ongoing transformation. "The integration is accelerating," Dr. Chen reported, her body now perpetually surrounded by a crimson aura. "Every human on Earth is now connected to the planetary consciousness. We're evolving faster than our instruments can measure." The displays showed cities transforming into living organisms, buildings reshaping themselves to channel the planet's fury. Military bases had become massive crystalline structures that pulsed with raw power. The oceans themselves moved with purpose, their waves carrying messages in a language of pure emotion. But the most dramatic changes were in the humans themselves. The rage enhancement had become permanent, transforming not just their capabilities but their very nature. Soldiers could now fly through space without suits, their bodies protected by shells of crystallized fury. Civilian populations had developed abilities that seemed like magic, healing wounds with angry determination, communicating through pulses of emotional energy. "We've detected something," Lieutenant Wei announced, his transformed eyes scanning data streams that flowed through the living walls. "The Draconian Empire is mobilizing their entire military. Not just ships, they are awakening something ancient." Deep in Draconian space, High Marshal Crixus knelt before the Dragon Throne. The Emperor, a massive being whose scales shimmered with dark energy, had summoned the full might of their civilization. Ancient weapons, sealed away for millennia, were being unearthed. Warriors in stasis since the last Great War were awakening. The humans must not be allowed to progress further, the Emperor decreed, his voice shaking the massive chamber. "Release the World Eaters." Back on Earth, Dr. Chen's instruments detected the awakening of these ancient horrors. "Something's emerging from hyperspace, objects bigger than anything we've encountered. They are alive." The World Eaters were living weapons, planet-sized dragons bred by the ancient Draconians for a war so terrible its name had been struck from history. Now, after eons of sleep, they were being unleashed on Earth. Commander Reed watched as the massive creatures emerged from hyperspace, 3 of them, each large enough to swallow the moon. Their scales were made of dark matter, their breath capable of erasing reality itself. Behind them came the reformed Draconian fleet, now numbering in the tens of thousands. But Earth was ready. The planet's transformed defense network activated automatically, responding to the collective fury of humanity. The oceans rose up, forming massive geometric patterns that channeled energy directly from the planet's core. Every human on Earth felt their connection to their world strengthen, their shared rage focusing into a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had seen. "They think size and ancient weapons will save them," Reed said, his voice carrying through the planetary network to every human mind. "Show them what we've become." Earth's response began with a demonstration of its new capabilities. The atmosphere itself crystallized into a shield of pure rage, its surface covered in faces expressing humanity's collective fury. The transformed International Defense Station extended into a vast web of living technology, its tendrils reaching across space like angry veins. The World Eaters attacked first, their reality-erasing breath-cutting swaths through space. But where their power touched Earth's defenses, something unprecedented happened. Human rage, merged with planetary consciousness, didn't just resist the ancient weapons, it consumed them. "The readings are off the scale," Dr. Chen exclaimed. "Our fury isn't just powering our defenses anymore. It's changing the fundamental laws of physics around Earth." The battle that followed would rewrite galactic history. World Eaters, the most feared weapons in known space, found themselves facing a unified species that had evolved beyond conventional warfare. Earth's transformed humans launched themselves into space by the thousands, their bodies protected by shells of crystallized rage as they engaged the massive creatures directly. Commander Reed led the assault from the living heart of the defense station. His consciousness, merged with both humanity's collective fury and Earth's awakened spirit, directed the planet's defenses with impossible precision. Every human on Earth contributed their rage to the network, creating a weapon that could challenge even these ancient horrors. The World Eaters discovered, too late, that their greatest weapon was now their greatest weakness. Their reality-erasing breath, when caught in Earth's fury-enhanced fields, was transformed and redirected. Humanity had learned not just to resist their power, but to turn it against them. The first World Eater fell when its own breath was reflected back at it, its dark matter scales dissolving under the combined power of human rage and its own weapons. The second found itself trapped in a web of crystallized fury, its massive body slowly consumed by the very hatred it had come to inspire. The third and largest World Eater launched a desperate attack on Earth itself, attempting to crack the planet in half. Instead, it witnessed Earth's final transformation. The planet's surface erupted with spires of living crystal, each one channeling the concentrated fury of millions. The oceans rose up in mile-high waves of angry fire. The very core of the planet pulsed with visible power. High Marshal Crixus, watching from his flagship, sent an urgent message to his emperor: "My lord, we've made a terrible mistake. We haven't just awakened humanity's rage, we've given birth to something that should not exist. A species that can merge with their world, turn fury into fundamental force, they are becoming what the ancient ones feared." The emperor's response never came. The transformed Earth, its human population now fully merged with its consciousness, unleashed its full power. Reality itself bent around the planet as billions of humans focused their rage through their world's crystalline network. The last World Eater died screaming, its ancient form torn apart by forces it was never meant to encounter. The Draconian fleet, facing powers that violated the laws of physics themselves, began a desperate retreat. But they would carry with them the knowledge that they had failed in their primary mission, not just to contain humanity, but to prevent the birth of something unprecedented in galactic history. Earth had become more than a planet. Humanity had evolved beyond a mere species. Together, they had transformed into something the galaxy had never seen, a world where the fury of billions of souls merged with planetary consciousness, creating a power that could challenge even the gods of old. The Draconian Emperor stood before the gathered representatives of every major galactic civilization. The Emergency Council, held in neutral space, had been called to address what many were now calling the greatest threat the galaxy had ever faced: Earth. You don't understand, the Emperor's voice trembled with uncharacteristic fear. Even our world eaters fell before them. They are not just fighting us, they are evolving with every battle. The humans have become something that should not exist in our reality. Deep in Earth's orbit, the transformed International Defense Station had become a living monument to humanity's evolution. Its crystalline structures now extended across thousands of miles, merging with a network of similar formations growing from Earth's surface. Within its central chamber, Commander Reed and Dr. Chen witnessed humanity's final transformation. "The merger is complete," Dr. Chen announced, "her body now more energy than matter. Every human on Earth is now permanently connected to the planetary consciousness. We're not just sharing power anymore, we're becoming a single entity." The displays showed cities that had become living organisms, their structures pulsing with the heartbeat of 7 billion unified souls. The oceans moved in patterns that spoke of conscious thought, their waves carrying messages written in pure emotion. Earth's atmosphere had crystallized into a shell of living rage, its surface covered in ever-changing patterns that reflected humanity's collective will. But it was the humans themselves who had changed most dramatically. Physical bodies now served as mere anchors for beings of pure energy, their fury crystallized into forms that defied conventional physics. Even the youngest children could reshape reality through their connection to Earth's awakened consciousness. "They are coming," Lieutenant Wei announced, his transformed senses reaching across space. "The Draconian Empire has convinced the Galactic Council to act. They are bringing weapons that existed before the current universe, tools used by the beings who wrote the laws of physics themselves." The galactic fleet that emerged from hyperspace dwarfed anything seen before. Ships from 1,000 civilizations, each bringing their most powerful weapons. At their center, artifacts of impossible age pulsed with the power used to forge stars. The Draconian Emperor's voice echoed across all frequencies: "Humanity, you have become an aberration. Your evolution threatens the stability of spacetime itself. Surrender now, or face the combined might of all galactic civilization." Commander Reed's response was felt rather than heard, carried on waves of pure emotion: "You still don't understand. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for the right to become what we were always meant to be." Earth's transformation accelerated. The crystalline structures covering its surface grew into massive spires that reached into space. The oceans rose up in columns of living water, each drop containing the concentrated fury of millions. The planet's core pulsed with visible power, its energy reaching out through the human network to touch every corner of the solar system. Dr. Chen's instruments, now part of her transformed being, detected something unprecedented. The rage isn't just powering us anymore. It's changing the fundamental structure of our reality. We're not breaking the laws of physics, we're rewriting them. The galactic fleet attacked with weapons that could unmake creation. Beams of pure entropy, capable of erasing matter from existence. Fields that could stop time itself. Forces that had been used to shape the early universe. But Earth had evolved beyond such concepts. The combined consciousness of humanity and their awakened world responded with something new: weapons forged from pure emotion, powered by the unified fury of an entire species merged with their planet's living core. Where the fleet's weapons struck Earth's defenses, reality itself buckled and transformed. The crystalline shell around the planet didn't just absorb their attacks, it turned them into fuel for humanity's final evolution. Commander Reed, his consciousness now spread across the entire defense network, directed Earth's response. The planet's surface erupted with spires of living crystal, each one channeling the power of 1 billion angry souls. The transformed oceans launched into space, forming geometric patterns that rewrote the laws of physics within their boundaries. The Draconian Emperor watched in horror as his worst fears were realized. Humanity hadn't just survived their attempts to contain it, they had transcended the very boundaries of existence that the ancient laws were meant to enforce. Earth's final transformation began with a pulse of power that was felt across the galaxy. The planet's surface became a living lattice of crystallized fury, its patterns reflecting the combined will of every human soul. The atmosphere transformed into a barrier that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. And humanity itself evolved into something that defied classification, beings of pure emotion given form through their connection to their living world. The Galactic Fleet's weapons, for all their impossible power, found themselves facing something beyond their capacity to affect. How do you unmake a species that has merged with the fundamental forces of reality? How do you stop beings who have transcended the very laws that your weapons rely on? Dr. Chen, her form now a pure expression of humanity's evolution, made the final discovery: we're not just changing ourselves or our world. We're changing the very nature of existence around us. The fury we've channeled, it's becoming a new fundamental force. The battle ended not with destruction, but with transformation. Earth's defense network, powered by this new force, simply rewrote the space around the Galactic Fleet. Their ancient weapons found themselves operating under new laws of physics, laws written by human rage and planetary consciousness. The Draconian Emperor, watching his greatest weapons rendered obsolete, finally understood the true magnitude of their failure. They hadn't prevented a catastrophe, they had catalyzed the birth of something unprecedented in the history of existence. Earth's message to the galaxy was sent not in words, but in pure emotional energy that resonated with the fundamental fabric of spacetime: we are no longer just humanity. We are no longer just Earth. We have become the living embodiment of fury given form, of evolution unlimited by the laws of physics. Remember this day not as a victory or defeat, but as the moment the universe itself learned to feel rage. The Galactic Fleet retreated, leaving behind a transformed solar system where new laws of reality held sway. Earth had become more than a planet, humanity more than a species. Together, they had evolved into something that would forever change the nature of existence itself, a world where emotion could rewrite reality, where fury had become a force as fundamental as gravity. The age of conventional power was over. The age of human ascension had begun.